Hello, periods 5 and 7. So, your task for today is centering around the essential question: how do we know the climate is changing? And our main focus or our task is to choose an infographic that shows an effect of climate change. I have printed out 10 different infographics, and there's 3 copies of each one. So, your job is to choose one that makes sense to you and explain how it shows evidence that the climate is changing by filling out the organizer and paragraph on the mastery check. This is going to look just like your notes on page 7, in which you took using the video of my explanation. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So, our main agenda: you are listening to my lesson directions right now. When this video is over, you're going to choose an infographic from around the room, and then you will complete the mastery check for that particular infographic. If you haven't finished listening to the video of me explaining how to do it and taking those notes on page 7, you'll need to do that in between choosing an infographic and doing the mastery check. You're going to take a break after 30 minutes, and then the last part of class, you're going to finish up Mastery Check 2 if you haven't completed it, and or start on Lesson 1B. It's all about carbon, which you can get credit for or not. Excellent. All right, so this is what the Mastery Check is going to look like. You have, so this again, if you have your notes out in front of you, you might look and see how this looks very similar to page 7 of your notes. For your chosen infographic, you are going to write down 3 things that you see, 3 observations that you make about it, and you're going to explain what each of those means. So you are just simply explaining, if you see an upward line, it means that whatever that variable is increasing. You don't necessarily have to connect it to carbon dioxide if the graph doesn't show that. In this particular example, I think I was looking at a graph of carbon dioxide. So please don't feel that need that you have to explain why. You simply are explaining that change is happening. So you'll complete this. What I'm looking for on this part is that it's purely just observations. It's only what you see. And in this section, you are interpreting what those observations mean. You're telling us what the shape of the graph is showing us, or explaining what a particular data point means. Then you are going to put together those ideas and write a 2 to 3 sentence explanation for the figure. So what goes in this box is explaining, if your figure is all about temperature, you would write down that this is an effect of climate change on temperature. If it's wildfires, sea level, that sort of a thing, the big picture, what's the factor? And then you'll explain what you got from that. Take a look at the criteria for mastery so that you can make sure you have all of those parts in there. Okay, here's your general order of tasks. This slide is going to be up throughout class. So I know it says to watch the video lecture first, but I recommend that you start with choosing an infographic, because there are some that are easier than others to understand. So you might want to choose one and kind of keep it for yourself, that is simple if you are possibly thinking you might struggle with that. Then, once you have that infographic, feel free to talk about them with peers and get an idea about what to write before you start that mastery check. But if you need to, go back and watch the video lectures so that you can make sure that you know how to do this and how to fill that out. The video lecture is 11 minutes long, so it should take you no longer than 15 minutes to complete that part. All right, go get a pink mastery check from the substitute. And then I'd like for you to work silently on the mastery check. I would like for folks that are working silently, who have the pink papers, to be at a different table than anybody who's kind of talking through those infographics. So set it up in the room to where there's some tables that are for mastery checks and others that are for discussing the infographics. Here's the deal. If you start working on the mastery check and you have some questions and you're feeling a little confused about it, just go ahead and leave your pink mastery check at the table. Take your infographic with you, and go talk with somebody else, talk with a peer, and work that through. So there's no problem with talking. I just don't want you to be talking while you have the mastery check. All right, once you finish with that, go ahead and turn it in, and then you're going to start this lesson 1B. It's all about carbon. This is a follow-up to the greenhouse gases lecture that we did. Um, and it's a video series that goes into detail about what exactly carbon is, because in reality, carbon is not like a window pane of glass. Um, there's some science behind what that is. So these videos will help you to understand that a little deeper, and it will help out our conversation when we have our Socratic seminar. If you did not pass the previous mastery check, and you'll see that in the assignment tracker, whether you passed or not, you can do this mastery check as a substitution for that. So passing this one will give you the full credit on that previous assignment. If you want extension credit, you've maybe not done so well on previous mastery checks, but you did fine on that. I'm totally fine with giving you some extension credit for this mastery check. Or if you are doing honors, you can get a point of honors for that. All of that said, if you're not doing honors, if you don't need the extension, you don't need to worry about doing this mastery check, but I do want you to still watch these videos. So everybody has enough work that you should be busy throughout class. And it's fairly independent work today. All right, I think that is the full information that you need. Go ahead and get started with step 2, and then you'll either move on to step 1 or 3.